been a long series so far, with GuMiho unfortunately finding himself in a bit of a sticky situation as Jaedong is currently at match point 2-1 in favor of our Zerg.
If you're losing with mech on both Nimbus and Deadwing in different ways in long games, especially when you get to do what you want, in GuMiho's mind, he's just got to put a big cross right through mech. He has to stick with bio play because mech clearly is going to have no strength. And the next two maps, though, are perfect for bio-focused play. It's going to be on Overgrowth. It's going to be on King Sejong Station. And these are the maps that we have seen the greatest strengths of GuMiho on.
Yep. I think he's going to be stubborn, though. To what you're saying, I think he's going to be stubborn. I think he's probably just going to go mech again, try and make it work there. I really do.
What?
We'll find out in just a little bit in game number 4 as Jaedong is looking good against the mech style.
Absolutely incredible. Because it's not just, I'd almost say it's never been huge plays from Jaedong. He's just doing a little here, a little there. Sometimes it seems to be working, sometimes it seems to be not working. And then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, GuMiho's broke. Jaedong has 10K. GuMiho can't win this.
All right, then, let's get into it. Game number 4 in this best of 5 as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. Really needs to pull it out here on Overgrowth. Representing Invasion Esports, it's GuMiho.
And down in the bottom left-hand corner, he is showing absolute confidence in the Zerg versus Terran matchup. One game away from the semifinals is EG's Jaedong! What a match we've seen thus far, Kallars.
Yeah, too true. I think at this point, Jaedong is probably feeling very, very comfortable against what GuMiho has been exhibiting. This very, very extremely passive mech style, but it's not only passive in its normal situation where mech is normally passive, as I would say, it's passive at the beginning for the most part as well. It's not really doing too much, and I really think that GuMiho has to stunt the growth of Jaedong if he's to have any chance in this series.
I really think that's the right key. I mean, ignoring mech, bio, any of that crap, you just need to keep Jaedong a little bit low on bases, because I kind of feel like Jaedong's best unit is Larva. Which is kind of crap, because that's like writing on your college application that your best skill is potential.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is so smart about building the right unit for the right task. He doesn't think in terms of the death ball. He doesn't think in terms of the composition he's trying to kill you with. He just looks at what he needs for the given task at hand.
I mean, coming back to the idea that you brought up just before, ironically, in potential, it's that there was even so much there for Jaedong, because he had that many infestors, the 8 infestors. Imagine if he'd have been able to land a fungal growth on things like ravens and stuff. That didn't even happen during the entirety of that game, and yet it could have if GuMiho had overstepped the mark. And then the game, boom, is over at that point. So you've got to be very, very, very meticulous about your controlling your positioning as GuMiho.
And GuMiho is again going for the Reaper command center. And frankly, I think this is a great build on this map. Close, tight positions. You can continue to utilize the gas to apply pressure. Interestingly, an immediate reactor out of GuMiho. He almost certainly will go factory and build Marines off that barracks. And man, look at Jaedong's Overlord timing. Waltzes in the second after the Reaper pops out to say, what are you doing with your next round of gas, buddy? And a big ol' Hellion, you know, what are the things? What is it called when they sear the cow? Branding.
Branding, okay.
It's branded with the word Hellion.
You were doing the movement, and I was really, really worried for myself.
It looked like I was stabbing an invisible sword into your face.
Yeah, it did.
But it helped me figure out the word.
I'm glad we got there, Sean.
There it is.
I'm glad we got there. Well, Reaper is he going to get a drone? Ooh, very, very close. Didn't in the end. And going to have to dart on out of there. Jaedong making sure that he's not going to be losing anything just yet. There's the factory on the way, though. And this old switcheroo after extra Marines will be popping up in just a bit.
I like this choice for GuMiho.
Second gas. Please.
Oh, yes, please be a Banshee.
Please be a Banshee.
A Banshee would be a great choice here.
Wouldn't it be?
GuMiho is gonna...
Wouldn't it be?
Boom! Oh, now I'm just gonna say that he is going to get a medevac, Widow Mine, and he's gonna push with him. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Please, no, please. It will be a Banshee. GuMiho, the gods, he's answered my prayers after the whole series of asking for a Banshee. Please, GuMiho, be a Banshee.
Yeah, if you don't want to... Oh my god, Jaedong. Jaedong.
Uh-oh.
Whenever he has the lead in a series, he's more prone to do something a little bit nutty. He's more prone to do something a little bit more eager, and we're seeing GuMiho. GuMiho is still building. Oh, now remember, in the previous game, Jaedong delayed his third and went for a fast layer. In the previous game, Jaedong's been spotted, though.
Yeah, definitely. And all in all, he really needs to start that Banshee. It would be really, really useful against this kind of thing. He might need it more so than ever because he really needs to buckle down here. There's the Banshee. There is a Banshee in production for GuMiho. I'm happy.
I mean, Jaedong is going to be able to break the front, 100%, no doubt. That expansion is going to go down, but to what extent will GuMiho take damage? I mean, Jaedong is going to be able to catch the Hellions off guard. He's going to be able to catch more Hellions, maybe. No, the SCVs at a beautiful angle.
SCVs to the rescue. Wow, that was able to buffer so well there for them. But again, there's still a big follow-up. These Banshees need to be very, very defensively minded. They arguably need to go find the Roaches or even Banelings morphing in and then start working on them. Cloak, you don't need that right now.
Oh, wow. GuMiho isn't just trying to think of how to stay alive. He's trying to think of how to best deny the third base. Cloak is going to prevent the Queens from being able to do anything because there's no layer tech. This is a disaster for Jaedong. But like you say, that is an expensive investment to get Cloak this quickly.
Yeah, but it's coming back now. He saw the Roaches at the front with those Hellions. Has to come back with that Banshee to be able to try and shut that down. It's only 26 workers against 29 here, so if this doesn't do some considerable damage against all of this, and here is the Banshee. The one unit I've wanted GuMiho to make the whole series should be able to do a bit of damage here against this force, but it's still not over yet because that's a lot of power from Jaedong.
The Roaches are all the way up the ramp. They're taking massive, massive damage from the Hellions, and now the Banelings have showed their faces. 25 Zerglings out on the map versus 8 Hellions. It's looking better and better for GuMiho. It's all going to come down to his trademark expert control. Can Jaedong get this around? He's trying to flank. He's in the corner, and Jaedong is taking big damage, but he manages to land a big hit with the Banelings, and I think GuMiho's been broken.
Yeah, he may have been. There's a lot of SCVs have just gone down, and I mean, these Lings and Roaches have done a lot for this. He's actually following up with more and more Lings. They're funneling through to the natural and coming just straight into the main as well. He's going to take a lot of damage again if he's not careful. The Banshees, though, they have to be absolute heroes. 30 workers have gone down.
Jaedong is trying to spread the Zerglings out as best he can. 2 Banshees out. The MVPs of this base defense, Hellbats, are up. It looks like GuMiho has a lot of muscle to do a snapback attack. Jaedong has to begin to redrone behind this. I don't think there's any opportunity for Jaedong to kill off any more workers in this game.
Banshees, making it work in the defense. The Lynx, actually, he really needs to lift up that command center on the natural.
Oh.
There he does. It started burning down, but it should be okay for now, as long as he's able to get those Banshees over there, clean that up. And all in all, if he's just able to stabilize off the back of this, he should be okay.
Jaedong is still just trying to rally in and to find any free worker kill that he can. Jaedong, I have really no idea if Jaedong is coming out ahead or behind, but I do know that 3 Banshees without very much anti-air defense can just end games. Yeah. There's going to have to be more than 1 Spore Crawler per base.
And not only that, like, he's going to have to be really careful about the positioning as well. He needs to make sure that his Queens don't somehow get cut off and die to these Banshees, because if he does, the Banshees will still try and find alternate poking positions outside of Spore Crawler range to make it really irritating here for Jaedong.
Oh my god, Hellbats, the armory's done. GuMiho again is going for the snapback attack. Cloaked Banshees attempting the impossible task of picking off enough to get back into an economic lead. It's a target fire down. It looks like a transfuse. No. GuMiho has made an utter failure of a counterattack, overcommitting in the last second. Transfuse from Jaedong keeps the Spore Crawler alive.
Yeah, losing one of those Banshees, not the best position, but actually he found a little bit of room there to get a few drones, deny some mining time, but he needs to do a little bit more than that. He's catching up in terms of the worker count. This is by no means over. Mules are going to be able to help him out quite a lot, but all in all, I mean, it was still a really solid defense by GuMiho, and I can't help but say it and reiterate it. Thank God for the Banshees.
I'm starting to get, oh no, another Banshee falls thanks to the existence of an Overseer. And there's a real tragedy for GuMiho. He doesn't have Stim, so he has no strong follow-up into Bio. He has to go into Mech. And what do you need as Mech? A third command center, which is just now getting started. And Jaedong says, you know what? I know you're weak. You got one factory. You got one starport. I got the answers. I'm Nidusing straight into the main and going to the semifinals.
Yeah, this Banshee actually already sees the Overlord on that position. I mean, wherever he Nidused, as long as he had enough roaches, then maybe he could do it. The thing is that he's continuing to produce queens, so he's probably going to bring those with him into the Nidus. Spread creep through, use that as the anti-air for the Banshees that he knows are the biggest threat to his ground force, and this could do considerable damage.
And there it is.
Uh-oh.
Nidus Network getting produced, SCVs sprinting desperately to the front. That doesn't even need to finish. It's not gonna finish. And then it's Jaedong's turn to just Nidus at the front. No need to surprise in the back. The Banshees have already been pulled into the main, and they're almost certainly aware that there is an alternate Nidus coming.
There's got to be queens in there as well with all of this. That's a lot of Banshees. If they're able to find it, they do find that Nidus Worm on the left-hand side. If they can bring that down, they've got a lot of DPS inside them, and it will actually isolate a few queens. A really good save here by GuMiho. He's really keeping on top of this.
Wow, GuMiho impressively is finding answers to get his defense stabilizing again and again. The key, whoopsie daisies, letting the roaches in, but the key difference between GuMiho and other Terran players seems to be the art of beautifully controlled defense.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit out of hand for Jaedong now. GuMiho is stabilizing to the point where where is the transition here for Jaedong? What's he really doing? He's down in terms of workers. The roaches need to do more and more and more.
He's committed. He has to end it with this Nidus Network, but it is going to go up. The queens are coming. The queens have arrived.
The queens need to die. That is the focus here. It has to be. But transfuses are going to be able to keep them alive for quite a long time here. So GuMiho has to play this out very, very intelligently. There's even another Nidus Worm going down in the main. So whilst he's trying to deal with this at the front, Jaedong is piling on the pressure in the back.
I mean, the economy for GuMiho is going to be in a world of hurt. He is down to 2 geysers in the main base. GuMiho, he's gonna lose this base. He's gonna lose his natural. Oh no, oh no, no detection there. Where's the detection? Is he gonna lose another queen? No, 4 still stand strong, and Jaedong is refusing to relent with this aggression.
This army is so strong here though from GuMiho, especially on the high ground. He actually needs to bring that back. Good micro there to be able to keep one of those Banshees alive. He's taken down all of the anti-air for the most part, as there's no more no more queens here to be able to push this away. Jaedong is on 45 workers. He had to resign himself back to a third base because it still wasn't gonna fully bust GuMiho.
What an incredible defense from GuMiho. For the first time in this game, GuMiho appears to be in a solid lead. It looked like he was gonna die to that early all-in. He didn't. It looked like GuMiho was about to die to the Nidus Network attack, and he doesn't. And now we see a fleet of Banshees heading down to Jaedong's base, and only 2 queens there to answer.
This game has been all over the place. I mean, maybe there's been a little mistake here, a little mistake there, but for me, that's what makes a great game of StarCraft overall. It's that this has been so even, so down to the wire. Jaedong has almost broken in time and time again, but somehow, some way, GuMiho has been able to make the defense. Banshees have been a damn good unit in this game, and overall, Jaedong, how is he going to stabilize from it? This is a great response. The Spire to be able to get some Mutalisks out to deal with the Banshees, but if GuMiho gets this mech working, look how much is coming across the map here, Sean.
GuMiho smells blood in the water. He recognizes that Jaedong is in an all-out emergency defense against the Banshees and would never expect a pummel at the front door. Hellbats, Banshees finally take down the front Spore Crawler, destined to do what they couldn't do previously, and the drones are getting roasted. All the brilliant moves of Jaedong have started to peter out, and suddenly GuMiho's art of defense is allowing him to get all the way to a game 5.
Wow, wow, wow. GuMiho on top of the natural, kills off one of the remaining queens. The Thors are going crazy in the back. It's up to these Mutalisks, these paltry Mutalisks, to be able to make some sense of normality on Jaedong's side. GG!
GuMiho, the art of defense. Do not give up. Do not underestimate the strength of your SCVs. Even GuMiho can't believe he pulled off that win. I mean, every single game has been Jaedong attacking, and GuMiho has barely defended in the 2 games he has won.
What a beautiful, beautiful game there overall. Again, be it a mistake here, be it a mistake there, it doesn't matter, because overall, that game showed how back and forth that these two players are and how tight it is between these two players. 2-2, and again, I have to say it, thank God he made a Banshee, and I really, really hope that we see a normal macro game from GuMiho in game number 5, but with Banshee still incorporated in.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he can go the distance. I think he can take this whole thing.
This series has been an absolute pleasure to watch, and there's one more game left before it's over. When we return, it's the final match of the quarterfinals to find out who of GuMiho and Jaedong is heading to the semis.
right, 2-2 now in this best of 5 in the quarterfinals as GuMiho and Jaedong are completely at a crossroads. They're so even across all of these games, and GuMiho making a fantastic defense once again.
I feel the same feeling I had when casting Life versus Teja at BlizzCon. Such a tense series. It went all the way to game 5. It's going to be on King Sejong Station, which is a fragile map. It's very easy to lose to a Ling counterattack, to a missed drop, to 2 attacks in 2 places. What a beautiful dancing move there, sir. Yeah, I saw it. Don't think I didn't.
You're right, though. We get all the best casts. We get all the best games. We're pretty lucky.
We're lucky bears.
Yeah, we are. All right, well, we're getting into game number 5 in just a little bit here, as GuMiho and Jaedong really very close, down to the wire between these two in the quarterfinals. And I can't call them apart right now. I actually can't call them apart. As much as I've been on the GuMiho hype train for a long time, Jaedong has played a phenomenal series as well. He's varied it up, he's made it extremely exciting and tried to break this guy, but it hasn't been too successful in his more aggressive games. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our blue Terran representing Invasion Esports. It's GuMiho.
And although he gets so many second places and only a few firsts, it would only be right to see him get to the finals. If you'd like to see him make it there, give a cheer for E.G. Jaedong! He's not supposed to lose in the quarterfinals, Kalaris. He's supposed to get to the finals.
And then lose there, or
Hey, hey! I know I set myself up for that.
Oh well, oh well. Again, there's potential here for a long, drawn-out game. I think that Jaedong, after his 2 aggressive stances that he's taken in the games that haven't worked out, will probably say, yeah, probably not in this game. But it can be difficult on King Sage on Station. I think this is a pretty good map for GuMiho to just sit back and, once again, chill.
GuMiho seems to feel like I never really know what to make of a Terran mindset when they're going so consistently for a Reaper opening. Because on one hand, you'd say, well, yeah, he thinks he's better than his opponent, so he's just going to play safe. But I more so feel like GuMiho is so terrified of what Jaedong could be doing, he just wants to get the scout out fast.
Yep. Yeah, that's very, very, very good point. Overall, Jaedong has shown tendencies of that aggression, so doesn't want to be getting caught off guard by anything like that. The spawning pool's already on the way here for Jaedong behind all of this. And the Reaper should be following up very, very soon for GuMiho to spot what's going on, get a good gauge of what's going on with the gases. And then from there on out, I'm hoping for just factory and standard play.
I can honestly say I have zero clue what either player is going to do. I mean, obviously GuMiho is going to go get his Hellions. He's probably going to get Banshee. This is one of the best maps to get a Banshee on. But Jaedong could go for the 6-minute third, which is pretty common. He could follow that up with a 3-base tricky all-in. He could be going roach play to knock down the rocks. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful things about watching players at the level of Jaedong play is that you are literally unsure of what he's going to do when you're playing against him. Yeah. And we're even feeling that as casters.
Yeah, definitely. He has a lot of tricks to his name, a lot of tricks. As with this Reaper moving across, he already even sent the SCV forwards to make sure something truly weird wasn't going on, as Reaper's going to head on in and get scratched a little bit there. But for now, back at home for GuMiho, it's just standard stuff. Whether or not he takes the second gas in just a little bit to be able to reinforce this for a starport play is yet to be seen.
Well, Jaedong has already sort of put his play face up for us. He's getting the Queen. This is almost always followed up by a relatively swift third base, a single drone in that gas, which just opens up the possibilities in GuMiho's mind.
There's the second gas here for GuMiho.
So I bet you it's going to be a Banshee.
Oh, I would love that. I would.
Actually, I bet you it's going to be Factory. Nope.
I'm still sticking with Banshee, man.
No, I really just could have waited 5 seconds and just simply not made that bet. I could have said, well, you know what? And there it is. But no, I opted to say 2 Factory. But, I mean, Banshee's just too strong on this map because you can float the Banshee right into the natural.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And again, it has a lot of potential follow-up from there on out. It complements the mech style so well, especially with how we're seeing GuMiho mix in so many Vikings as well. It gives him the opportunity to really get up towards his opponent's units, be it the Swarm Host, if we get that far, then just drop down a few volleys on them when they're feeling vulnerable, when there isn't as much anti-air there, with spore crawlers, etc. And that means that Jaedong, with a Swarm Host style, has to be a lot more careful about how far he goes forwards if those Banshees are mixed in.
Now, this is an interesting fake out from GuMiho. He's going for Viking first, and then he's going to be going into Banshee. This is going to allow him to clear out Overlords a little bit. Jaedong will often think to him, whoa, what are those Hellions doing in the main base? What is GuMiho trying to pull off? He just lost some critical Hellions there. Did he kill any drones?
I'm okay with that. It was only 2 Hellions, right? It was only 2 Hellions, I think, during all of that. Raven is being added on super fast. Did he cancelled Cloak, right?
Yeah, I think that he identified that the layer was coming up rather than third and elected not to have his Banshees walk straight into that.
I'm very interested by the Raven, because it might even be for auto turret harassment at some point, but right now it only serves the purpose really of being able to spot if anything crazy is going on with some kind of burrow play. Auto turrets are pretty good in the straight up fight, actually.
Yeah, I mean, in this spot, I think that it's a very just all-around safe play. It's GuMiho saying, you know, I don't really know what you're going to do, Jaedong, but Raven can't be bad versus anything. Point defense drone solves a lot of issues. as does just the ability to have detection. It's an ultra safe option. And it looks like we are going to get the blessing of a long macro game, and Mech is a little trickier, I think, to pull off on this map.
Yeah, especially with the idea of Jaedong now going for a very, very quick Spire. I mean, you said he saw the idea of a layer on the way during all of this. And behind it, GuMiho has been a little bit sporadic, a bit all over the place with what he's been building. He started a Banshee again, he ended up cancelling, he ended up switching that over, and getting a tank. Oh god, that's not really what he wants to be getting here against this kind of Spire play. He really needs the armory done quickly for a Thor.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, this is some very clear confusion on the part of GuMiho, and his Hellions in the middle get completely caught off guard, and it looks like Jaedong is going to eliminate the most important scout, the most important map control for GuMiho. One Zergling versus one Hellion, no problem. He's a boxing man.
Did that Viking see the Spire? No, oh god, it was so close. It was so close to being able to spot that. Of course, he's got Thor on the way and now Vikings as well. He kind of is sniffing all of this out with the engineering bay on the way as well. He needs anti-air, of course, but oh, it's kind of slow. He needs to be set up in all of these positions.
What? GuMiho making a huge error. Jaedong capitalizing on it in a second, and the Panda Bear guy gets to bear witness to all of it.
At least for one part here, also, with the Vikings now just popping out, and eventually the Thor will pop out just in time. Also, the Raven with point defense drone can soak up a little bit of this damage if he needs it. So he sees the Mutalisk at the front. They're not going to be able to do too much, I think, here, as long as he's really on top of things.
Oh, he's going to try to just take out the Raven. Point defense drone, who cares? He wasted 100 energy. He didn't even lose a single Mutalisk. And guess what? That third base is going to be a nightmare to get down. Yeah, GuMiho's sending it that way, but he's opening himself up to a big series of possible attacks.
Yeah, it's like the knock-on effects from the previous kind of moves that we saw from Jaedong of being able to do damage and then start to contain. The Mutalisks are actually faring pretty nicely in that regard, but GuMiho also just flying his third base down there very, very quickly during all of this.
Zergling didn't quite block the command center. And in GuMiho's position, he is still setting himself up for the very long game. Still just playing very cautiously versus air, but my god, is this a hard map. Those rocks, they get taken down. That's an entirely open attack path to the second base. You have the third, which has two big attack paths to it. One to the natural, one to the third.
Whoa.
Jaedong is now getting 25 roaches and a fourth base, 28 roaches. I bet he might even go to 29, Kalaris.
He may do. This is going to be pretty difficult to shut down. They're going to pack a big, big punch. And, I mean, what does he have in terms of mech? He has two tanks at the front, a Thor. It's going to be difficult to actually shut down.
This is a Zerg timing window. GuMiho needs to get defense up at his natural, end up at his third, and all Jaedong's going to be looking for is opportunities like this. If he can take out the tank, this is going to open up a big danger for the natural. Oh, GuMiho, again, with just barely there defenses. Jaedong, he's attacking the tanks. This is big.
This has to be a wake-up call. These roaches now coming in. He's
just marching straight in. He's going to take out this tank, and the natural's open. A single Thor there is not going to be enough. Jaedong has identified the window.
This is a perfect opportunity for Jaedong to just steal away this game with such power. But at the same time, the tanks have been able to push the roaches away on the left-hand side. Vikings have been forced to land during all of this. The roaches are a little bit indecisive about where they want to go, but decide to go down to this third base. If we can kill off a bit more of this mech, it might be entirely feasible that he pushes through.
Jaedong is happy to kill anything. He kills the Vikings, a Mutalisk transition is going to be stronger. He kills the tanks, he has a stronger opportunity to win right now. 32 roaches still remain. GuMiho's defense has to be the ticket for him. GuMiho is still going to be up against a torrent of roaches. The tank count is staying low. Roaches are eliminating SCVs, Vikings, every unit out there, and this is not a safe time for GuMiho at all. He has not defended this yet. Jaedong is going to keep on the pressure and begin attacking from two fronts.
Yeah, so many SCVs off the line are really hurting his income during all of this, as well as Jaedong trying to bust down that wall. There's a few siege tanks on the high ground, but if the Thors are left completely vulnerable, one of them is going to end up falling. Another siege tank down to that third base. He's losing so much of his army during this is GuMiho.
Has Jaedong finally managed to crack the impeccable defense of GuMiho? Drones getting produced, the roach is endlessly trickling in, and the siege tank count is only increasing 2 at a time. GuMiho is in emergency counter counter mode. He's starting to get medevacs to be able to counter, so that way he can hope to equalize the economy, but every time he is spending money on not Vikings, he's getting weaker and weaker versus an anti-air transition.
Just perfect play by Jaedong. Really selling. GuMiho was led down the wrong path. He really didn't have all the tools really needed to be able to shut this down. And look how calm Jaedong looks down in that camera. Compared to GuMiho, who is up against the ropes right now, Jaedong is so patient about this. He is in a prime position to take this entire series.
This is the opportunity for GuMiho to hope that he can equalize. He is sending this medevac straight over creep because it doesn't even matter if it's seen. He needs to hope that it is a window of time where he can provide himself a little bit of safety. The roaches are pulling back. This is going to give GuMiho the chance to reestablish his third, but I'm worried about GuMiho versus this transition to mutas.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to shut down. This medevac arguably would have to buy a huge amount of time, but it's not going to buy enough, as that one ends up falling. 1/3 as well, with those Hellbats trying to do some damage to the drones, but they get pulled away in just time, so Jaedong is able to save a ton of his economy.
I mean, just attack after attack after attack in these games, and Jaedong seems to continue to find windows that GuMiho was simply not expecting.
Trying to take his third base eventually down here. He really needs it. He needs the economy to be able to push all of this back. Triple missile turret, extra Thors, extra Vikings. Everything right now is geared up to hopefully push away the extra little waves coming along from Jaedong, but he's at a different stage in this game entirely, is Jaedong. He's just rocketing forwards. He's got so many roaches threatening the third base. He's got his Hive on the way. He's got his Hydralisk Den on the way. Everything here for Jaedong is going in his favor.
But in all these times when I'm about ready to count out GuMiho, when I'm talking already about a Jaedong win, GuMiho continues to stay alive. He continues to establish beautiful defenses. But God, Jaedong is not gonna let GuMiho have peace long. The backdoor rocks are Jaedong's next target. These Vikings and Raven are out in the middle of the map. This is the only time they'll get to do that with enough energy for point defense drones. Soon enough, GuMiho is gonna have no vision of anything.
Yeah, that was a pretty telltale movement actually there from Jaedong. If you've got that small pocket of roaches on the left-hand side, where are the other roaches? So actually being on this right-hand side, I think GuMiho may have reacted a little bit slow to that, loses a few SCVs, but he's got the majority of his army back here. But any trade that these roaches can get, even a Thor or two, is a good trade for Jaedong because again, his bank is piling up across 5 bases whilst GuMiho is struggling to even get something going on 3.
I just saw that gas head very far to 0. 26 Hydras in production. 4 Vipers in production. Jaedong still trying to poke holes in at this left side. He's gonna find 1 tank and maybe take it out. No, GuMiho. I mean, tanks at +2 upgrades. Murder roaches.
Yeah, as the Spire just whirring away now, getting some upgrades for itself as well, as Vipers are going to enter the field, and it's going to make it all the harder for this mech player to find some stability.
Again and again, Jaedong is going to sweep in and find opportunities where most Zergs would recoil and head home to defend. The defense of GuMiho, the reaction time too strong.
Yeah, more command centers are actually being lifted down here for GuMiho, so he's feeling a little bit of comfort. He needs to be spending this money, needs to try and get himself up into a very good economical position, whilst also being in a well-defended army position. The Hellions move forwards, and actually running into a lot of those, they have to be very, very careful. They don't want to be running into Hydras.
And suddenly awareness builds. The scan sees the Vipers. The scan sees the attack is going to be coming in 10 seconds. Can GuMiho spread his tanks out enough? Can he establish enough control over the front line? Blinding clouds perfectly land on 3 tanks, 4 tanks. The only tanks that aren't blinded are the ones unsieged. And now Jaedong storms forward. The tank count is slowly falling, but GuMiho has just a few too many mech units on the high ground.
The Hellions trying to hold off against this at the third base, and they will be able to shut down a lot of it. It's up to the Mules to try and recuperate the losses here that he's faced.
Oh, but in the natural expansion of GuMiho, Jaedong never one to attack in a single place at once. The Mutalisks have come through and ripped down the worker count. What is it at? What is the state of GuMiho's economy? 24 workers.
And the Remax as well from Jaedong. He's got like, he had 30 roaches and 15 Hydralisks in production. So once again, we're back to a situation that we've seen GuMiho in twice in this entire series. Jaedong found himself in an advantage with the Hydralisk and Roach switch up and poke. And then now, he's just powering forwards with all of these Remaxes. With the banks he's been able to build up. He keeps poking forwards, finding the extra siege tanks. And it's been a glorious game from Jaedong.
The rock-solid defense slowly whittled away. GG! Jaedong is your last semifinalist, the only Zerg to make it to the semifinals of IEM San Jose. Jaedong almost always gets to the finals, and in that series, you got to see why. He seemed to be in control of every one of those matches.
A fantastic series from Jaedong, a fantastic series overall from both players as they showed us game in, game out, diversity, strength, and even some weaknesses here and there to find out that Jaedong in the end is victorious. Commiserations for this guy on screen, but he put up a hell of a good fight.
I mean, GuMiho has some of the best controlled defenses, the best placement, the best judgment of how to split up his forces of any Terran I've seen in a long time. And Jaedong still managed to crack through, but only just barely. That's a real testament to GuMiho's defensive abilities.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see more of GuMiho. Here's the remaining moments of the fifth game in that, and GuMiho knows he is beaten and done, and Jaedong so happy with that victory. It was a tough one. It was a long series overall, but he was able to be victorious.
I mean, you got to be reminded anytime you're starting to apply pressure and you're starting to feel that, oh my God, I might win here. Oh my God, I might win here. You're immediately going to remember, ooh, I felt that way in game 2. Ooh, I felt that way in game 4. And both of those went GuMiho's way. And that takes an incredible amount of just knowledge of Zerg and mental fortitude to make yourself commit to those winning plays like Jaedong did. It's so easy to convince yourself you can't break through.
Yeah, and well, that pretty much does it for us here. And without further ado, let's head over to Jaedong with Sue.
Thank you very much, Calaris. Congratulations, Jaedong, on making the top 4 here at IEM San Jose. Jaedong, GuMiho is known for having amazing TVZ. With an opponent like that, how did you prepare heading into this match?
일단 구미호 선수는 이제 저그전을 좀 잘하는 테란 선수로 알려져 있는데 그런 약간 무서운 상대로 어떻게 준비를 하셨나요?
그냥 준비 따로 안 했고요. 그냥 뭐 손 가는 대로 했어요.
He shrugged his shoulders as you guys saw and said, honestly, I didn't particularly prepare in any special way. I honestly played just the way my hands wanted to play. I just did my own game. So it obviously worked out in his favor. Jaedong, you are on a complete hot streak lately. You've already reached the top 4. Your next opponent is going to be Hero. And I know that you actually have lost him a few times in the past, but you seem very confident right now. So heading into that series, how are you feeling?
일단 다음 상대는 김준호 선수인데 예전에 진 적도 있긴 하지만 지금 너무 자신감 넘쳐 보여요. 그래서 그거랑 상관없이 지금 자신감 있으세요?
그 김준호 히어로 선수가 굉장히 강한 건 알고 있고 저도 사실 프로토스전이 그렇게 강한 건 아니기 때문에 하지만 지금 이런 분위기에 다시 또 게임을 하게 된다면 충분히 제가 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
He says, I know for a fact that Hero is a very, very good player. I also have struggled a bit with my Protoss play, but that being said, if I can just keep riding this mood, this momentum, I feel like I'll be able to show really strong games for you guys. And last but not least, Jaedong, these fans have been cheering so hard for you. I want to take this moment to give you a chance to say something to them.
영어로요? Thank you so much, guys. And okay. And I will show you. I will get this.
Congratulations again, Jaedong, on making it to the semifinals. We're going to head back to the desk with Red Eye.
Thanks very much, Sue. Well done. Congratulations to Jaedong. And, well, you heard what he said. And, well, he's very, very confident indeed. Cheered on by In Control, no doubt, at home. Thanks for tuning in, Jeff, if you're still there. If you're not and you're only there for now, well, you've missed out on your favourite player going through to the semi-finals. Back with our guys on the panel right now. And it's pretty much as you all predicted, even down to the scoreline, except for Kalaris.
Well, you know, James is trying to cheat on this. He's making predictions halfway through the series. When someone is up 2-1, James is like, this is my moment to shine, and he's still wrong. And obviously, if he has to make a prediction in the start of the series, yeah, there's no way this is going anywhere, Paul.
Okay, good. Glad we've got that out of the way. A brilliant series, though. A fantastic series to watch.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. A bit of everything in it, Sean.
Absolutely everything, to be honest. I was very, very impressed by both sides. I thought GuMiho played really, really well, but looking at the series in general, you have to look at Jaedong and say, where the hell did that come from?
Yep.
Over the last 4 weeks, he's traveled to every tournament, every weekend. He said, I think it was the last tournament he played at a DreamHack, he made an excuse. He wrote on Twitter, I've traveled to North America, to Korea, to Europe, to Korea, to North America, blah, 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 blah. Yet he comes out on the last tournament of the entire year and plays better than he has done on all of the others.
On that basis alone, his training regime should basically be flying around in planes.
Yep. He isn't practicing right now, that's pretty much. He's just playing tournaments.
Yeah, and it's worked out well for him. What was your highlight out of the match, Todd?
I think the last map, definitely, because after 4 maps, I was really looking at this match and thinking, wow, you know what? The 2 maps that Jaedong won, he got cross map, and he got pretty fortunate, you know, on Nimbus. Is 1 chance out of 3, and then he got a cross map, and then again on Deadwing. So I was like, well, I don't know what the map's going to be, but it's probably going to be hard. And then I saw it was Sejong. I was like, okay, this is going to be really tough. But then he played a hell of a game and finally countered Mech a different way with a lot of roaches. And yeah, it just made me very happy.
Yeah, those roaches were fantastic. It was nice to see a bit of Nidus play, even though it wasn't particularly useful, but it was nice nevertheless.
It was a good idea. It could have worked.
Yeah.
It could have worked.
Well, actually, here's what's really cool, because Kevin and I were sat here watching. And I said to Kevin, oh, look at that, Nidus, if he gets his Nidus, he gets those roaches, and he's going to have it. And he's like, no, he's losing this game. And everyone around me was kind of like, no, he's going to win this game. And we looked at the tweets, and everyone online was like, no, Jaedong's got this. And Kev was sat here very calm and coolly. And he was just like, no, GuMiho wins this.
No, I mean, it's like 6 Banshees. It was a good idea given the circumstances. If you want to analyze Overgrowth, you have to go back to the start of the game, because it started off with a Roach Bane or a Ling Roach All in. And he sent all the Zerglings in at first, and he didn't get the surround. Once again, excellent defensive micro by GuMiho. I really want to emphasize this throughout the entire series. Of course, you know, a merry-go-round, we had that Reaper that stayed around way longer than it should have. You can always say, like, Jaedong should have taken care of it, but it's 2 sides to the story. It always is in StarCraft 2. So it's some really, really good defensive micro by GuMiho. He did it on the Overgrowth as well. So given the circumstance, you know, the Roach, Nidus all in, follow up with the Queens. It was a good idea, but the Banshee count was so high. It wasn't 2-3 Banshees. If that's the case, yeah, GuMiho would have been in a lot of trouble. But he had 5 Banshees. That's so much burst fire.
Jaedong was really so annoyed when he lost. You saw him on the screen. He was like, no, I should have won it right there and then.
That was a pretty sick call by Roddy during the game, actually. I also thought that GuMiho was dead. I guess all this ladder on NA in Diamond League.
It's starting to pay off.
Giving you that TVZ knowledge, Roddy.
Well, I mean, rather Diamond League than Heroes of the Storm.
Oh! And the sick burns come in. We've been waiting.
1v1 anytime.
We've been waiting all weekend for the MMR and Heroes to come up, and it finally comes up at the right time. Let's take a look at the bracket very quickly and confirm for you our semi-finalists. These 4 are carried on. CJ Hero into the semi-final with a 3-2 win over Snoop. Jaedong likewise over GuMiho. They'll go head-to-head in our next game here. Rain also 3-2 over 4GG. And just to buck the trend, Bomber destroys Revival 3-0. So our semi-finals with Rain and Bomber coming up a little later on. CJ enters Hero versus Jaedong is coming up next. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll come back to you in a little bit of time. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, it will be our semi-finals. Just want to remind you that we do have a number of giveaways going on this weekend, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. It's HyperX, Gigabyte, and also Roccat. You can also use the entire kit and collection that Hyun plays with, courtesy of Roccat, by entering the giveaway. The details are at the bottom of your screen right now. Let's head to a break now. When we come back, it will be the semi-finals of the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose.